and welcome to this edition of Berkshire Matters. I'm Bob Dean, and I'm your host for today's show. And today we're going to be talking with Berkshire Community Action Council about some of their programs, 3 programs in particular. We're going to be talking about their heating fuel assistance program. We're going to be talking about their weatherization and related programs, and then we're going to talk about their free tax preparation program. So we've got a lot to cover, and our guests today are Alita Monchecki, Deputy Director of BCAC. Welcome, Alita.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
I'm great. And Rennie Schmidt, who is the Weatherization Director. Welcome, Rennie.
Hi, Bob.
All right. So let's start with you, Alita. Some of the things that I want to talk about in regards to the heating assistance program is that it can help people pay for their heating fuel. And can you tell us who might be eligible and what types of fuel it covers?
Certainly. We will cover pretty much any sort of heat that, however you heat your home, whether it's wood, kerosene, oil, propane. And you just have to be income eligible for the program. And our eligibility guidelines are pretty high. So for a family of 1, you cannot make more than $40,951. Family of 2, it's $53,551. I think I'd remember those numbers by now. We say them constantly all year. The only you could own your home, you could be a landlord, you can be renting. As long as you hit those guidelines, you're eligible for our program. However, if your heat's included in your rent and you are on a subsidy, it's based on what percentage that you're paying towards your rent to see if you're eligible. So if your heat's included in your rent, you're still eligible for the program. So I know that people get confused on that.
So I guess what I always kind of get when I talk with you, Alita, is we want people to reach out to BCAC and to share with you their information, and then you can help determine whether or not they're eligible. We don't want people ruling themselves out. We want people to give you a call and then let you run the numbers, so to speak.
Definitely. You want to give us a call, because if you're not eligible for our program and you're a little bit over, we know to send you to the Salvation Army for the Good Neighbor Fund. So definitely, everybody should give us a call. The process is very easy this year. With COVID, it's done over the phone. So it's very quick. You're not going to have to wait, 3 weeks for an appointment. It's usually done within that day. We're going to ask you all the questions over the phone. We're going to mail you the application, and there'll be a list of things that you'll have to send in for us to be able to complete that application. But it's done very easy, and it's done over the phone.
So when is the deadline, the last day by which people can apply?
The program runs from November 1st till April 30th. So the last day to apply is going to be before April 30th.
Okay.
If you apply now, we're still going to go back to November 1st. So if you've been paying your bills all along, you could land up with a credit on your account.
Okay. So when you were talking about the numbers, a household of 1, the 40,951, that could be, for instance, a senior living alone in their home. And if their income is below that amount, they could be eligible. So it can be just one person when we talk about households. The other thing is, I'm looking at some of the numbers that you gave me, and a household of 5, it could be 2 adults, maybe 3 kids, they can make $91,351 or less and be eligible. So these are really expansive income eligibility numbers based on household size. So I'm just saying that because I want to encourage people to give BCAC a call so that you can help connect them to whatever they're entitled to receive. Now, one thing we hear a lot, particularly from older folks throughout the county, is they don't want to take it from anyone else. A lot of times they're thinking of maybe a young family. So tell us, based on the amount of funding BCAC has in Berkshire County, would they be taking it from anyone else?
They would not be taking it from anyone else. And actually, they'd be helping us, because we know what the numbers are in Berkshire County, who should be eligible for fuel assistance. And we need to reach you. We need to get you eligible, especially a senior. They're probably our most difficult population to get them to apply, because they don't want anyone to help them. What we tell them is, and this is kind of Rennie's field here, is do you have $5,000 in your bank account? Because if that furnace breaks, you own the home. Did you know that our weatherization department, Julie, you may be eligible for a new furnace or get that furnace fixed. So that's what we try to tell our seniors.
Okay. Great.
Not only are you going to get fuel assistance, get on the discounted rate for your gas bill, get on the discounted rate for your electric, it also protects you. And then there's so many programs that Rennie's program, then they're going to jump in, that they'll be able to help.
So,
are you ready?
Yes.
That's a nice segue. So someone needs to be on fuel assistance. And if that's the case, they can be eligible for many other things. So tell us, Rennie, as the weatherization director, what are some of the programs and services that you oversee that if somebody's on the heating fuel assistance program, they might be eligible for?
Well, one of the main things, it's a little bit of peace of mind to know that if you had trouble with your heating system, that we could help.
Okay.
So that's the only one that has the fuel assistance restriction.
Okay.
So, say if your heating system broke down, we basically would send out a contractor, and then we would pay for it. So also, if the heating system were to die completely, we could replace it for that person for free, as long as they were on fuel assistance.
So if someone's on fuel assistance and they're having a problem with their heating system, it's just not working as well as it should, you can send someone out. And what's the maximum amount that BCAC would cover for that kind of repair?
Oh, geez, it depends on what it is. Okay. But usually we also have some resources to pull from the HeartWAP program or other funding sources to, make the complete repair. And the guidelines are actually going up recently of how much we're allowed. And we can do other things with that program, like if the oil tank is leaking, for example, we can put in a new oil tank, because you don't want to have a hazard like that in your house. Right. And there's a lot of chimney hazards as well, where, you can't replace the heating system till you say get rid of asbestos, or you need to have the chimney lined. So all those types of things we can take care of for a person on fuel assistance. Now
that sounds like a lot of really expensive stuff. And I just want to make sure that I'm hearing you correctly, that someone on fuel assistance, BCAC can help with all of that really expensive stuff.
We can. That's a wonderful thing about our program. And a good reason to be on fuel assistance. So occasionally we have people calling in and they're not on the fuel assistance. Yeah. So the first thing Julie in our heating department does is try to get them on right away, so that then we can help them with the funding from, these other sources to replace the heating equipment.
And I like what you said. You said in a way it's like a peace of mind, almost like an insurance, that if somebody's on the fuel assistance piece and they have until April 30th to apply, if their furnace goes next September or October, they could be covered, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so it's really an important thing for people to consider. Now, can you actually replace an entire heating system?
Yes, we can. We can do that.
Wow.
And that is a wonderful thing for people, because often the person also has fuel savings. So instead of it being, $3,000 a year to heat their house, now it's only $2,200. So in the long run, it saves money as well.
Yeah.
And so there's other things we do to save money, and you do not have to be on fuel assistance to get some of our other services. So one of the big things we do is we insulate houses. And that is something that can save a tremendous amount of money.
Gosh, yeah.
So a house that needs like attic and wall insulation, often those people save $1,000 a year just in fuel costs once they went from a leaky house to a tight insulated house.
Rennie, do they have to be on a certain income? Like if they don't have to be on fuel, do they still have to meet our guidelines for this?
They do. They have to be on a discount rate on their electric bill or their gas bill.
So would that be somebody that might be heat included, that they couldn't get fuel, but they're still eligible, or?
Oh, that's a tough
I'm
question.
just curious to why they wouldn't be on fuel, like.
We get a lot of people that aren't on fuel, even though they're eligible. And again, I think it's maybe a pride thing, or there's some reason. Maybe it's, they just don't feel like doing paperwork. I can't really think of a reason why anyone would, not participate in something that would give them all these extra resources.
Yeah.
But there are people
Help
out
someone
there
stay in their home. Like, again, if you're talking about an older person that is on Social Security or something, not only could the fuel assistance program help pay for their heating fuel, but if their furnace goes, BCAC could cover all of that, right? So this is huge.
Yeah.
And the discounted rate. We also get them on the discounted rate for their electric. I know National Grid, it's 28% off their usage. I'm not sure what Pittsfield, Eversource, but then we also get them on the discounted rate for their Berkshire gas. So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have other parts to our part of the program. So what happens, we try to reach out, once a year to people that are on the fuel assistance and see if they need any other services. So typically what we do is we call people that are on the discount rate or that are on fuel assistance and say, hey, we have these other services. So we typically start off by going into the house, offering some free things, energy saving light bulbs. It's a little more electrically based. You get a few goodies like some real efficient night lights and power strip. But as part of that, you get the free stuff. You could get help with replacing an old refrigerator, a washing machine, even air conditioners and dehumidifiers. So we help with appliances and this whole electrical part. But while we're in the house, we look at the heating system and we look at the insulation. And so if we find that that house has something like a leaky oil tank or no insulation in the attic, this is when it goes to a higher level. And then we can do another real full energy assessment with an expert on insulation. And they would write up a work order and we get the work done. It takes, a few months to go through the process, but we, can take a house with no attic insulation, no wall insulation, and, within a week of the contractor being at the house, they get it all done. And for the rest of the life of that building, they will save these hundreds of dollars a year.
Good stuff. So let me make sure I understand this. And first of all, I want to say Berkshire Community Action Council is a nonprofit. So everything we're talking about, there's nothing that's being sold ever by BCAC. So Rennie, when you were talking about that first visit where someone will go in, someone very friendly will go in with the light bulbs and stuff, that's like a fairly quick visit, right?
Yeah, that visit usually only takes about an hour.
Okay.
Sometimes it goes up to an hour and a half if the person has a lot of questions. Sometimes only half an hour. We go in and, there isn't much to do. Maybe it's for a family. It's already insulated.
Yep.
There might not be much to do. We give you a few light bulbs, some other goodies, and
look at the fridge and the washing machine. Tell us, what would be some of the things that you would look at to determine if you could replace that?
Yeah, so for example, refrigerators, they typically have to be kind of old, like before 1990. So that's sort of old. Once in a while, we find one that's just broken. And so it's using a lot of energy for a weird other reason. And then that might qualify. But what happens is the funding for this comes from the electric companies. So we have to go by their rules on what they say, this is not efficient enough, so you can replace this one. Or if we test it and it's too efficient, then it wouldn't qualify. But we do our best, to do that, as well as washing machines qualify very easy.
Tell us.
They only have to be 4 years old. and have an agitator in the middle.
Okay.
And then you would qualify for a new one. So
Cool.
we just go in, write up a work order, and then, a few months later, there's the new washing machine. And then they install it. So you don't have to do anything. The homeowner just, says yes. And then the delivery guy comes, takes away the old one, puts in the new one, and good to go.
So you don't even have to worry about getting rid of your old washer or your old refrigerator, that the program will not only bring you a brand new one and install it, but they'll take away the old high energy using one.
That is true. Yes, it's a wonderful thing.
Sounds pretty good. So the refrigerator, you check like how much energy it's using, like, whereas the washer, you just can look at it, and if it's got an agitator and it's more than 4 years old, you could replace it.
Right. Whereas the refrigerator, we actually have to test, and we come up with a number called kilowatt hours per year.
Okay.
And so it has to use a certain amount of kilowatt hours a year. We also can do freezers, but they tend not to qualify as easily.
Okay.
So, but yeah. So it's kilowatt hours per year, which allows us to replace it with, a newer model.
So tell us about the air conditioners that you can replace. What's the criteria there?
So they actually upped the guidelines a little. That goes by something called an EER, which is an energy efficiency rating. And doesn't mean too much to the average person, but you could check your own. So it used to be, it had to be under 8.5 to qualify this number. And it's printed right on your, model thing where it says EER 9.6 is a famous one. So we were just recently allowed to go to 9.0, which is very exciting because, a lot of these old air conditioners didn't qualify. But, 9.0 is the magic number. If your number is less than that, we could get you a new air conditioner.
Very good. And again, the income guidelines are the same as the fuel assistance program, but people don't necessarily have to be on the fuel assistance program, although we're certainly encouraging them to apply for that and get those savings as well, right?
Yes, and there is some, like if a house needed a lot, say it was a big Victorian, with needed everything like wall insulation, attic insulation, the utility company will only put so much towards it. So we can get extra money from the state if the person is on the fuel assistance. Okay. So any really big projects, it's very helpful for the person that needs the insulation to be on the fuel assistance because we can get more money and offer more services.
So when your person comes out and does the energy visit with the light bulbs and looks at the washer and the dryer, they also kind of look at insulation and the heating system, and then you bring in someone else if there's a sense that maybe some help is needed there, or how does that piece work again?
Yeah, so they do generally look at the insulation and the heating system. So sometimes we've had this, especially with the elderly person that can't go down the basement stairs, has no idea that something is going wrong with their heating system. Yeah. And they go down in the basement, give it a quick check, and, it's making all sorts of noise. So they can directly make a referral right back to our office.
Okay.
So they will tell the person, hey, something doesn't seem right. I think we should have someone come look at this. Okay. And then they bring the paperwork back to the office the same day. You could even have a contractor in the house do a small repair to make that thing run better.
And
same thing with insulation.
But the bigger stuff will take longer because there's a high demand, but it'll be done.
Yeah, sometimes when the weather first gets really cold, like November typically, sometimes we're just inundated with 200 people calling in a day. Like my heating system won't turn on because they all tried to turn it on this same day, which was the first cold day of the year, and then it didn't go. So we do run into that. And then, of course, the heating contractors are very, very busy too, because they not only have all our clients, but they have everyone in Berkshire County calling on the same day going, help, help.
Yeah.
So we try to, get them out there as quick as we can. Once in a while, we have a few electric space heaters we can let people borrow on a, if they have a situation where they're freezing cold and it's going to take a day or two to get the system fixed.
And now that you mentioned space heaters, like I can envision situations where somebody maybe, their heating system needs to be repaired. It's not working very well. And so they maybe got those old, space heaters with the frayed cords that they're using, and those are unsafe and it's probably expensive. So this program, again, can fix the things that need to be fixed, and it can save them money because they're using less energy.
Yes. Yep. And we do want to avoid anything that's hazardous, because we have seen some funny things like people running a gas oven. Ooh, and you are putting carbon monoxide in your air. If you're running that gas oven just to provide heat, it's not the healthiest thing in the world.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to do what you got to do in an emergency, but that's,
right.
There's a few things you shouldn't do, really.
And I guess, back to your point, Alita, of why people don't apply. I would say that, even if if you're eligible, apply. And if you get money to pay for your fuel and you maybe have a little extra money in your pocket, although who has extra money these days, spend it locally, help the local economy, do some things that way. So, you're giving back. It's almost like your civic duty to apply for the program or encourage other people to apply for the program. But, let's keep this money in Berkshire County. It's here. We know there's the need. And so I guess let's utilize it.
Definitely apply now before, I think this year they will be shutting people off. We are going to see. Last year they didn't because of COVID if you were on the discounted rate, but this year we are going to see that. And don't wait till after April 30th because we can't help you after April 30th. Please call now and apply.
Okay, so I want to talk about VITA, but before we do that, Rennie, what else about your program do you want to discuss that we haven't talked about yet before we move on to VITA?
Oh, I think we covered a lot of it. I do always like to put in a plug for insulation in general. As part of that, we do some things that help the air quality in the building. So we're looking at health and safety as well as insulating and air sealing. Things that just make the building better to live in, sort of more comfortable as well as more durable. And of course, just tremendous energy savings for insulating something that doesn't have good insulation. So,
So just listening to both of you, I mean, it's like a win-win-win-win-win-win. There's no downside to any of this.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right. So I called the program VITA, but it's also a free tax preparation program. So tell us about it, Alita, please.
Certainly. I would like to say we're very lucky to have Rennie. Rennie is our new weatherization director, and she's a great asset to the team. She was here prior to becoming the director, but her knowledge is just unbelievable. So our VITA program, it's a free program. It's something that we offer every year. Very excited that in our Pittsfield location, we have virtual VITA. So you can actually go on our webpage. There is a spot that you can click on and you're able to do it yourself, not even go to the office. You won't have to drop off any paperwork. If that does not work for you, we have two locations, 1531 East Street and 85 Main Street, second floor. And if you'd like to have your taxes done, Monday through Thursday, there's a copier outside of our office. Pittsfield, it's 9 to 3. And in North Adams, it's 7:30 till 3 o'clock. The copier is there for you to use. We need you to make copies of, we'll give you the list. So call our office and we'll tell you what you need a copy of, and we'll do your taxes. You're going to put them through the slot because of COVID. We're still doing everything through the slot in the door, but we're going to call you up, ask you questions, and then when your taxes are done, we'll have you come in and we'll have you sign off. We do the taxes just like everybody else does. We send them through, I cannot even think today, through, Bob, help me here.
They're filed online, right?
file online, but there's a word
go
for
right
it. Just as quick as
done, as fast as any other tax preparer.
Any other tax person, and we do not charge. It is totally free. It's run by volunteers. We're very lucky. We have had the same volunteers. I've been here for 13 years, same volunteers from 13 years ago here in the North Adams office. Pittsfield, it's been the same volunteers. So they know what they're doing. They know how to do your taxes. And the only thing that I did look up today in Pittsfield, they will not take any originals. They need copies of everything. So do not give them your original documentation. E-file, that's what it was. E-file. We do e-file.
Okay.
I could not think of that word.
So what I'm hearing, Alita, is this is a program that has very seasoned, experienced preparers. They've been doing it for years. BCAC has been doing this free tax preparation program for years. Once the return is completed, it can be filed, e-filed just as quickly as any paid preparer can do, but there is absolutely no cost. And what types of taxes can the program do, both federal and state? And is there a income limit?
There is an income guideline. It's up to $57,000.
Okay.
So anyone that makes less than that, they can do all sorts of taxes. In Pittsfield, they will do, if you're self-employed, they can do your taxes. Here in North Adams, it's just strictly straight taxes. We don't do self-employment. We'll send you to Pittsfield.
Okay.
They can do any age group, their taxes. Usually all the senior centers will do the seniors.
Okay.
We try to do the people that have no place to go.
Okay. So what is the first step? To call BCAC?
You can call in the North County office. It's call BCAC, and we're going to tell you the documentation that you'll need. In the Pittsfield, please call and I'll give you the numbers. Or you can show up in the Pittsfield. They have paperwork outside their office where the copier is. You need to fill out a form. And you can go online. It'll show you exactly what we're going to ask for, your picture ID, social security cards, your W-2, your 1090, whatever forms that we'll need. I mean, are you paying for daycare? So I recommend that you call first so that we can tell you the documentation that we're going to need.
Give us the numbers very slowly.
Okay. North Adams, 413-663-3014. Our Pittsfield office, it's 413-418-3685, and that's the VITA number.
Okay. So when you say go online, they would go to the BCAC website, right?
BCAC website, go to VITA, free taxes, and when you look, there'll be a spot that's going to say virtual, and you can do your taxes right there. You can hit that and go upload your paperwork. And I think they've had quite a few people that
I'm sure. It's a great program. We are out of time. Thank you so much, Alita. Thank you so much, Rennie. This is great information.
Bob. Thanks, Bob.
You're very welcome. And I think we all know that there are people out there who could benefit from this program. So we encourage anyone who is joining us today to reach out to those people, their friends, their neighbors, their relatives, and encourage them to reach out to BCAC so that BCAC can help. Thanks to both of you for joining us today, and thanks to our audience at home. Be well and be safe. Bye now.
Bye, Bob.
Bye.
Bye.